the kitchen, so many recipes to share. So many cooks in the kitchen with meals for you to prepare. We've got fruits and grains, veggies and beans, more healthy food than you've ever seen. So many cooks in the kitchen, plant-based meals to prepare. So many cooks in the kitchen with ideas we're happy to share.
Hello, and welcome to our August show of So Many Cooks in the Kitchen. My name is Dilla Barman. I'm in North Carolina, and I'm delighted to see all of you who have joined us. Those of you, and some of you have joined even before we went live, and you've been viewing our show for a long time, so welcome back. And perhaps we have some new viewers, so please say hello, and we will respond to comments. Today is a little bit interesting. We're doing a show about ice cream, and those of you who know, we are all vegan, whole food, plant-based. We've been doing these shows since 2020. It's been 6 years. We go kitchen to kitchen. We start at my kitchen in North Carolina, and then we pass it on to other cooks in the kitchen. All of us are Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, Food for Life instructors. Food for Life is a nutrition education program where we have classes. I taught a couple of classes last week. One class was for kids, and the other class I taught was it the blood pressure class? I can't remember. We have classes for diabetes to help with managing diabetes. We have a class for certain forms of cancer. We have a class for high-performing athletes. So go to pcrm.org and look for the Food for Life program and see if there's an instructor near you in person. We also have many of us who do online classes, and there's instructors around the world. We have something like 300 instructors. So in today's show, we're going to be talking about ice cream. And yes, we are saying ice cream, and it is totally vegan, no cow's milk or anything like that. I think you're going to enjoy today's show with the versions of ice cream we're making. I'm going to start with Rocky Road ice cream, and then we're going to move on to Carolyn in Alabama. She's going to be doing either a vanilla bean ice cream or I think it's a vanilla bean sweet potato based ice cream. And then Cody's standing by. I see Cody there. She's going to be making a mango ice cream. And then Karen, I'm so happy, Karen, that you're back. So Karen is back. She's has had an absence from our show for a little while, and we very much missed you. And we're so happy you'll see Karen in a bit. Karen's going to be making a mango raspberry sorbet. Now, one thing strange about today's show is I have a poor excuse. I have my own math school, and I've been really busy the last few weeks, and time caught up with me, and I realized it was just about time for the show. And I was scampering to get everything ready, and then I came up with an idea. The recipe I'm making is Rocky Road ice cream, and I'm taking a shortcut. Back in 2020, 6 years ago, the first year of our show, I made ice cream with peaches, with grilled peaches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the time machine. I'm going to show that video clip. I'm not going to cook today. I'm taking a break from cooking this time. Sorry, I'll be in the kitchen next time making a pie. That's our next show. We're going to be next month. It's going to be a show on pies. So Many Pies, September 19th. And then after that, the show is going to be So Much Pumpkin in October. So those are our upcoming shows. And then in November, December, we do rebroadcasts. So what I'm going to do is let the tape play. It'll be peach ice cream. You're going to find a little treat. Those of you who've watched us for a while know Cody and I have children, and they're in a kids show. My daughter, 6 years ago, she was in 6th grade. She shows up at the end to sample the food. I just showed her the clip. She's changed a lot. Super cute, and I think you'll enjoy seeing her. She comes to sample the ice cream. So again, sorry for not being in the kitchen, but let me tell you how I make ice cream. I use a high-power blender, a Vitamix, and I put frozen fruit. What works well is strawberry. Mango works great. Peach also works well. Blueberry works okay. And sometimes I've done watermelon, and many of you know that I love tangerines. I've actually made it with tangerines, and it's pretty good. But really, it comes out best with mango and strawberry. So what I do is I put and the recipes are in your handout. I'll put the link to the handout in a moment. I put the frozen fruit in, and then I put a little bit of soy milk or a little bit of a vegan creamer, and I blend it. And it quickly homogenizes. Sometimes it's too solid, then I put a little bit more of the plant milk or creamer, and then it quickly becomes ice cream, which you can serve immediately. And sometimes I mix in some cacao nibs. So what I'm changing, which you won't see in the replay of Peach, is I want to show you how to do a Rocky Road ice cream. And I practiced that a few times before a couple weeks ago, and my family really liked it. So if you want to make a Rocky Road ice cream, do what I'm about to show you with the peach or mango or strawberry, or try another fruit. But at the end, when it's mixed, go ahead and throw in a little bit of crushed walnut, or not crushed walnut because the blender will chop it, and a couple chocolate chips, and pulse it so it's homogenized. Homogenous goes through the ice cream. And if you want, you can put some vegan marshmallows if you'd like. I haven't done that. My daughter loves vegan marshmallows, but without the marshmallows, it still comes out really, really good. It's a nice combination, especially strawberry and chocolate, but even mango and chocolate, even cherry and chocolate. Cherry and chocolate's a great combination. And that's it. You want to eat it right away. The last thing I'll say about the ice cream is you don't need a Vitamix. You don't need a very expensive blender. If you have an inexpensive blender, just don't use fully frozen fruit because you'll break the blender. So if you have a less expensive blender, then go ahead and mostly defrost the fruit and then blend it slowly. Put the most defrosted first and then the least defrosted at the top and blend it, and be aware, make sure you're not getting loud noises from your blender, and then you'll get a similar product. But if you can afford it, a high-powered Vitamix or Blendtec is a great thing to have. They're expensive, but they're very helpful. You can make wonderful ice cream. You can make soups. You can do all sorts of cool things. So with that, I'm going to press play. And I asked our producer, Sarah, she's in Europe. She puts things like this together. I'm going to ask Carolyn to stand by, because right after the clip, you're going to see, because I did more than just ice cream. So Sarah isolated my ice cream part. We're going to go straight to Carolyn. So I'm going to ask her to stand by so she'll be ready to go. So please ask questions anytime. We do have some giveaways at the end, including a really funky ice cream scoop. So I'm going to press play, and right after my segment, Carolyn will be on, and then we'll go to Cody. And we'll end with Karen. Karen just told me that at one point in her recipe, she has like 2 minutes for the blender to run. So she'll go on mute, and maybe I'll come back on and chat a little while she's on mute. Okay? So enjoy the show. Please ask questions anytime. I'm here. I can answer questions even during my segment because I'm here. I'm not cooking right now. So here goes. Enjoy the show.
Everybody love in the summer? Ice cream. Now, you might say, Dilip, I thought this is a plant-based show. And doesn't ice cream have cow's milk? Well, it doesn't have to. We make ice cream with either soy milk, and I like this unsweetened soy milk, or we actually make our own soy milk. I have a soy milk maker. These cost about $100. And if you go this route, in the long term, you're going to save a lot of money. It's easy to make soy milk. You basically just soak some soybeans, put them in the soy milk maker, put some water in, and push a button, and then you strain it, and that's it. Or if you want a little bit of sweetness, which I'm going to choose, you can use any number of plant-based creamers. And if you look at the nutrition label, per serving of 1 tablespoon, this has 0.5 gram of fat, and it has 2 grams of sugar. I'm going to use very little bit of it, okay? So let's make ice cream. Let's first talk about peaches and nectarines. So peaches and nectarines are available fresh right now. When you pick them, you want to eat it when it gives gently to pressure, and you want to leave it on your countertop. If you refrigerate it too soon, then it loses its flavor and gets mealy inside. So leave this on your countertop, and again, here's some peaches and here's some nectarines that look really, really similar. Apricots are related. Now with apricots, because it's dehydrated, the good news is they last for a long time, and they're good for example, hiking, putting in a backpack. But because we've evaporated the water, the sugars are concentrated, so you want to be careful about eating too many dried fruits. But fresh fruits, the action of eating it, all the water and the fiber, you should be fine. And I shouldn't have to say this, but definitely check with your healthcare practitioner before making any major changes in your diet. So peaches are available fresh, but also frozen. And that's what I'm going to use for the ice cream. So I have some frozen peaches. You can freeze your own. Just slice the peaches or pears. And if you leave it out for any length of time, add a little bit of lemon juice to keep it from browning. I'm going to add it to my blender. I have a heavy-duty blender. It's called a Vitamix. There's two really heavy-duty blenders that I know of, a Vitamix and a One Tech. I'm going to add about 4/5 of this bag of peaches. The bag is 10 ounces. I need about 8 ounces. So I'm going to use about 8 ounces. And then I'm going to add a little bit of creamer. Start with about 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup. I'm going to estimate something like that. And then this is going to get loud. But what I'm going to do, well, first of all, I'm going to flip the peaches. You see how the pan is getting a little bit stained from the peaches? And it cooks down. I should have maybe put some more peaches in. Don't worry about the browning. I'm going to show you what to do with the browning. The peaches are just about done. I have my daughter just off camera who's standing by as our sampler. So she's going to come and sample the peaches in a second. Let's let it cook just for another minute. Let me make ice cream. Now, if you have a high-powered blender, you probably have what's called a pusher. So I might have to use that. So let me blend. Again, this is going to be loud. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to put some fruit in. Let's take a look. So don't put anything in your blender that it wasn't designed to have. And this pusher is meant for the blender. And this is still a little chunky. So I'm going to add just a little bit more creamer. I want to turn my pan off because the peaches are done as well. Okay, so add a little bit more liquid. You could even add water. Okay. I wish I could say any questions, and I can, because you can ask, if you're watching this live on Facebook, you can ask on Facebook. Okay, I'm going to ask my lovely daughter to come and have some ice cream. You can use a parfait glass, maybe put some blueberries or some strawberries. You know what we forgot to do? We forgot to get a strawberry for garnish, but that's okay. People can use their imagination. Whoops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use just a bowl and use the utensils that came with your blender. So we have this utensil. Now, if you don't have an expensive blender, just make sure that you're not using big pieces of frozen fruit because you can damage your blender. What I would do is I would cut the fruit to a 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and then I would maybe partially defrost it. So ice cream, and I could have made it even more creamy. So Anu, come and grab a spoon, see what you think. And I'm going to give you a grilled peach. So what I'm going to do with the peaches, the final step with the peaches is I can just serve it. But what I can also do is I can add for glazing, I can add a little lemon juice and cinnamon. And if the heat were still on, you hear it sizzle. And what happens, you see how all that flavor gets picked up. All that caramelization gets picked up. If you are an alcohol drinker, you can use a little bit of white rum. That works well too. Okay. So Anu, let me give you a little bit of peach. How's the ice cream? Good.
More than great.
Good. And here's some peach ice cream with grilled peaches.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Strickland, and I'm a Food for Life instructor in Montgomery, Alabama. And today I am making vanilla ice cream out of not bananas, not coconut, but white sweet potato. So I was excited to try this recipe because it seems like non-dairy ice creams always taste like banana or coconut. And so this is actually using yellow sweet potato. So I'm going to talk really quickly about the kind of sweet potato. So it's this kind. Oh, this is huge. This also same kind of potato. This is a yellow sweet potato, sometimes referred to as a Japanese sweet potato. So it's sort of purple on the outside and white on the inside. Very different from our traditional sweet potatoes, which I got these at the farmer's market, which are orange and orange on the inside. So we don't want to do that. We're trying to make vanilla. Although if you want your vanilla to be orange, that's fine. So you could make it with these. But we're trying to go for a much lighter color. So I cooked one really big sweet potato in my Instant Pot, and it took about 25-30 minutes in my Instant Pot. Huge. And then nice and done. See, it's white on the inside. I'm going to take the insides out, and we need 1 cup of this sweet potato. So I need to get the peel off, which comes off, as you can see, very easily after I cook it in the Instant Pot. Just peels right off. So that's probably not quite a cup. Nope, not quite a cup. So I'm going to have to take a little bit more out of here. Let's see if we can remove more of this sweet potato and get about a cup of cooked white sweet potato. Okay. There we go. I got it. Okay. So we're going to put all these ingredients in the blender. So this is 1 cup of cooked sweet potato. It's going right here in the blender, along with 1 1/4 cups of any kind of non-dairy milk you like. So it could be plain, it could be vanilla, but this is actually homemade, but you can use almond milk, whatever, soy milk. So that's 1 1/4 cups, but your favorite non-dairy milk. And yes, it can be vanilla or sweetened since this is ice cream. So that would be fine. So 1 1/4 cups. And then a 1/2 cup of cooked cashew pieces or soaked. So soaked overnight. These are some that I actually boiled for about 10 minutes just to make sure they were nice and plump. If you can't eat cashews for whatever reason, then I think sunflower seeds would probably work pretty well, or maybe a mixture of sunflower seeds and hemp seeds would also probably work pretty well. You could try a 1/2 cup of white beans and see if that works. And that's a possibility. It would make it a lot lower fat. So I think that could work. And then I have a 1/4 of a cup, maybe it's a 1/4 to a 1/3 of a cup of an unrefined light colored sugar. So this is coconut sugar, which I'm using this kind. It's organic vanilla coconut sugar. So it is a little bit browner. So it's going to make my vanilla ice cream kind of tan, but that's okay. So we have that, and then we have oat flour, which is really important for helping it thicken up. It gives it just a nice thickness to it. So it's about just 2 tablespoons of oat flour. And you want to try to use oat flour because remember, you can't eat regular wheat flour raw, and this is not cooked. So you want to use oat flour. And then vanilla bean powder, really important to give it that vanilla flavor. And we're trying to go with the bean powder because this way it won't be too runny. So we're not trying to add more liquid to this than we already have. So 1/4 of a teaspoon, and vanilla bean powder is really good. It's got a really nice flavor. So a 1/4 of a teaspoon vanilla bean powder. I'm using this kind, Watkins vanilla powder. It's what I found at my local grocery store. So that's why I'm using this one. Whoops, I lost the lid. Okay, and then optional ingredient, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. Try to go with iodized sea salt if you can, because iodine is really important for your thyroid. And that's it. That's all the ingredients. So it's a cup of cooked yellow sweet potato or white sweet potato, but you want to go with the Japanese or the Hana yam, whatever you want to call it. 1 1/4 cups of plain or vanilla non-dairy milk, a 1/2 cup of cashew pieces, or like I said, sunflower seeds, hemp seeds, a combination of those, or maybe even white beans could work. A 1/4 to a 1/3 cup of light unrefined sugar, 2 tablespoons oat flour, a 1/4 teaspoon vanilla bean paste, and sea salt. So all we're going to do is whirl it up until it's smooth and creamy. All right, that looks about right. That was like 25 seconds or so. And let's see. Oh, yeah, it looks really smooth and creamy. Okay, so I'm making this in my Ninja Creamy, my Ninja Creamy. And so here's some Ninja Creamy containers. And this really fills up 2 containers pretty well. I think if you were going to make this without a Ninja Creamy, you could do that and just pour it into, one really good idea might be pouring it into ice cube trays and freezing it, and then taking the frozen cubes and putting them in your food processor, maybe with a little non-dairy milk to loosen it up. So, or you could put it in just a freezer tray lined with parchment paper and freeze it for several hours until it's kind of scoopable. But putting it in my Ninja Creamy makes it a lot more creamy. So if you have one of those, then you will see much, much more creamy. Okay, so I'm just going to pour as much as I can into each one of these. And then we'll put the lids on and put them in the freezer. So you want to go ahead and put them in the freezer for overnight. Really is best, like 6 to 8 hours, until it's pretty frozen. So we're going to put them in the freezer, and then we'll come back tomorrow and see how they turned out. Okay, we're back. It's been longer than 24 hours. So it's been about 48 hours since I made the mix, but that's okay because it's pretty forgiving. It can sit in the freezer as long as you need it to. So you can see from this that it has frozen solid, and I went ahead and just kind of scraped it to flatten it, because sometimes it'll dome up in the middle a little bit and you don't want it to do that. So sort of flatten out any of the frozen mixture that comes into a dome shape, just sort of flatten it out. Okay, so I'm using my Ninja Creamy and pop it in and put the lid on and suitable machine. But it's going to do backwards here. Let's see. Okay, and up. Okay, and then we're going to turn it on. Okay, and I'm setting it for the ice cream setting, and it's probably going to have to run 2 cycles of the ice cream setting just to make it really creamy. Okay, so this takes about a minute, and it's kind of loud, so we'll probably fast forward through this. Here we go. All right, let's check it and see what happens. I think it's going to need one more time through. Oh yeah. Okay, so right now it's looking kind of crumbly. So we'll just let that go through one more time. I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. I bet it tastes good though. Yes, it does. All right. Really good. All right. Pop that back on. All right. One more time on the ice cream setting. Good. All right. Let's check it out. Whoop. That is stuck. There we go. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Perfect. Wow. Look at that. Beautiful scoop of ice cream. Oh my goodness. It came out a little tan, I think probably because I use coconut sugar. So instead of like a white or more, I try to use unrefined sugar, but you know, it's going to come out a little more tan than white. But really it's the sugar that did it. So that looks delicious. Let's see. Oh, that's so good. That is delicious and would be really nice topped with maybe some kind of a chocolate drizzle, a chocolate syrup, or maybe a blueberry or strawberry kind of sauce over the top of it would be delicious. It would also be really good served with any kind of dessert, like a fruit crisp. Really, really yummy. So I hope you give it a try. Doesn't taste like bananas or coconut. It's very different from that. Has a really nice vanilla flavor. I can also taste the coconut sugar a little bit, but mostly it's that really good Japanese sweet potato. So I hope you give it a try. This, by the way, is Drina Burton's recipe. So it's not my original recipe. This is from drinaburton.com, and it's fantastic. So do give it a try. And I'll send you over to whoever's next. And remember to ask a question in the Q&A section so you can be entered in our prize drawing.
Hi, everybody. Carolyn, thank you for that recipe. I know that was recorded, but we really appreciate it. It looks so good. I never even would have thought to use like a sweet potato for an ice cream. So it's just really cool. I'm going to give it a go. I bet the girls will love it. We love vanilla. So I can't wait to try it. So thank you for sharing. Welcome everybody to my home in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm Cody Stubbe, and I'm just going to do a fun little demonstration for mango ice cream. So about a month ago, my middle daughter had wisdom teeth removed. And so, of course, they're like, oh yeah, give your kids lots of ice cream, whatever. I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy ice cream. I'm going to make it because, even vegan ice cream has a lot of sugar and stuff. So I'm like, it's healthier to make it at home. I know she's going to get more of the nutrients that way and everything. So I just started whipping up all sorts of flavors of ice cream, and this was her favorite. So I'm just going to jump into it. It's very simple. You can tweak the ratios and stuff to whatever you like. Okay. So what I'm going to start with is one really nice ripe banana. As you can see, it's kind of, getting brown on the outside. So I know that's going to be nice and sweet on the inside. And I'm just going to peel it here and just pop it in there. Usually I leave a little bit for my dog because she loves bananas and it's healthy for her. What I like to do with the peels is put it in like a Tupperware with some water, and then let it set for like 8 to 24 hours. You can put it in the fridge or on your countertop. It doesn't matter. But the water is going to absorb a lot of those nutrients from your banana peel. And then I use that water then to fertilize my house plants or plants outside. And it's made a huge difference. It's been really cool. So if you want some homemade fertilizer for your plants, try a banana peel. It's really cool. All right. So I got my sweet banana in there. And then I have about 3 to 4 cups of frozen mango. It kind of depends on the size of your mango, like how much you put in. So just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't really matter. Just dump it in there. And this is just straight out of the freezer. Okay. So if you have a high-speed mixer like a Vitamix, it shouldn't have any problems getting through all that. All right. And then I'm going to add some plant-based milk. You do whatever you have on hand. I just happen to have this kind on hand. It can be, usually there's no vanilla in our soy milk or whatever milk we have at home. So I usually add vanilla, but if you get plant-based milk that already has vanilla, you probably don't need to add any extra. So I'm going to add in here probably at least a cup to start with. I'm not making a smoothie. I'm trying to make it thick like an ice cream. And this, I think you've probably heard the term nice cream. This is that other version of it with mango. All right, and then I'm going to add, usually I start with like 1/4 a cup of maple syrup just to sweeten up a little bit more of that mango, because I know that this mango isn't the sweetest. If you have really sweet mango, you probably don't need any syrup at all. You could substitute the syrup with like a coconut sugar, or maybe some dates would be a good substitute as well if you needed to. So I'm just starting off with a small amount here. Like I said, it's 1/2 of this. This is a 1/4 cup. So I just did about 1/8, which would be 1/2 of that. Okay. And then I do about a teaspoon of vanilla. I love vanilla, and it's the pure vanilla extract. It always smells so good. All right, so this is going to be loud. So I don't know if Dilip wants to mute this for a minute here. You certainly can. So, all right. Turn it on first. Here we go.
It's looking really good.
All right, so then I'm going to stir it down. If you don't add enough milk, it will kind of form like a little air pocket down in there with the blades, and it will just kind of spin without actually catching the mango. So if that happens, add a little more of your plant-based milk and kind of stir it in there a little bit, and then run it again. Okay, I'm going to stir it one more time here. It's really close. And it smells so good. I can smell that vanilla. All right. All right. Oh, there we go. Ah, looks perfect. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like here. So it kind of has like a little dip in the middle. So I know that it was mixing really well. And that's what I'm watching for, is it really like pulling down the top stuff and bringing it to the bottom and circulating. If it's not doing that, like I said, if it's kind of getting stuck, add a little more plant-based milk, stir it up and go again. But this looks nice and smooth. Can't wait to have some here. I know the girls are excited to have some more today. So you can see it scoops out pretty nicely here. So it's kind of like a soft serve ice cream. If you have any leftovers, which I doubt we will, then you can put it in the freezer, but you'll have to like let it thaw for just a little bit before you scoop it out, because it will get pretty hard. So let me just try it here. That is perfect. Perfectly sweetened. You can taste all the mango, the vanilla. It's delicious. So give this a try. I hope you like it. I know it's a kid winning recipe. So, all right. Thank you. I'm going to send it over to, I believe, Karen's next. And welcome back, Karen. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. That looks delicious.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So I'm glad to be back finally. I'm going to be making something that is so simple. I'm also going to use the Ninja Creamy, but you could make it in a high-speed blender or low-speed blender. And there's no wrong way to do this. But I was going to just show this for something kind of different and fun. But honestly, I never, like when these first came out, I didn't get one because I have the Vitamix and I have the Ninja, the Blendtec. So anything, I could find a way to do any of it. I didn't think I needed another appliance on my counter, but I was walking through Costco one day a long time ago and they were really reasonable. And so I got the last appliance that I'm allowed to buy because I don't have any more room on my counters. But and I have had fun with it. But I just want to say you can do this in the blender if you don't have one of these. So it's 3 simple ingredients, and I'm just going to lower that down so you can see what they are. And it's just so simple, but it's a sorbet because there's no dairy in it, even plant-based milk. And the sorbet, it was used first as a like a palate cleanser between courses and large meals. And what makes the difference between the ice cream and the sorbet, like, so ice cream has to have at least 10% milk fat, and then sherbet has to have like 1 to 2%, and then a sorbet, there's no dairy, no milk fat. So what I'm going to use is just raspberries. I'm using frozen fruit, but you can use, if you're going to use just a blender, I would use frozen fruit. But in the Ninja Creami, you can use frozen or fresh. So I have raspberries, and they're going to give it the flavor and the color. And then I have mango, which is going to give it the creaminess. Mango's got the pectin, and so when you blend it up, it makes things really creamy. And then I have dates. So in my recipe, I've said like 2 to 4 dates. So that's up to you, how sweet you want it. So things like when things are frozen, it kind of lowers the or reduces the sensitivity of your tongue, the receptors in your tongue, the sweet receptors. So you kind of want things a little more sweet. And also the dates, so they're sweetener, but full of nutrients and fiber. So all of this is so good for you. It's like you're eating ice cream, but it's not really junk at all. But this is the dates also help with the texture, make it a little more creamy. So all I'm gonna do is pour everything in. So I've had this sitting out just a little bit to thaw out a little bit. Still pretty frozen. So I got 1 whole bag of raspberries, 10-ounce bag. And then I've got a cup of mango. And if you're just using the blender, if you have a Vitamix, you can just tamp it down. You really don't even need any any plant milk. And then I'm going to put the 4 dates in. And this is the Ninja, I don't know why I keep calling it Ninja, the Blendtec. And it's the twister jar, so instead of a tamper, it has this little lid that will scrape it all off of the sides as I blend it. So I'm gonna mute myself. I know that the computer will do it, but sometimes when I do something loud, I don't come back. The sound doesn't come back. So I'm gonna mute myself while I blend it real quick.
Oops. Well, while she's doing that, I wanted to mention, think of questions. We're almost at Q&A, and any questions during Q&A are you'll be in the drawing for a prize.
Okay, so it's smooth. All those dates are blended. Let's see. And then what I'm gonna do, actually there's a little piece of date stuck onto this, but that's okay. So, if you can make double the recipe or triple the recipe if you have the bigger blender and more containers. I'm just gonna make 1 container. This is the original Ninja Creami, and it has pint containers, and then there's newer, like deluxe versions that have a pint and a half. But I'm going to pour this in up to the fill line. we're going to freeze it for 24 hours. Just want, you can make it as smooth and flat as you can on top. But even though you flatten it out, when it freezes, it's going to kind of bubble and come up in the middle as it freezes. So after, like Carolyn was saying, after you freeze it, you want to scrape it down flat, or it can damage the blade of the creamy. All right. So I'm going to put this one in the freezer and come back with the one that I've frozen already. All right, so this is, it's going to take a second to be able to get the lid off, but oh, there it is. Okay, so I already scraped it flat, and I'm just going to let it thaw out just a little bit while I tell you about the buttons on this creamy. I don't know if you can see them, but depending, so like if you have a lot of milk, fat and sugar in your mixture, it's going to lower the freezing temperature. So you'll have a softer mix when it's frozen. So that's what these buttons are, like different. It's got two motors in it, and one presses this, you have this blade which actually shaves the little ice crystals, like shaves this whole mixture. And then there's another motor that operates something that pushes it down to the bottom as it shaves, and then like it mixes air, like aerates it. That's what makes it nice and creamy. All right, so we're gonna just put it in the holder. Put that lid on. So yeah, there's like, if it's a really hard mixture, you have, well actually, okay, for ice cream, it's a soft mixture, so it's not gonna take as long, and it goes up from there. Like the harder it is, the longer it's gonna take. But this, supposedly, like a sorbet, takes a long time, and is kind of icy. But with the dates and the mango in there, that's not going to happen. This can be so smooth and creamy. So I'm just going to put it on here. And, oops, it would help if I plug it in. All right. Put this plug in. Nope, I plugged in the wrong thing. So. There you go. Okay, it thinks I haven't installed it. Okay, so now I'm going to press sorbet, and I'm going to mute. Actually, I'll mute and then press sorbet, because it is going to be loud and it is going to take a little time. So I'm going to hand it back to Dilip right now, and then I'll be right back.
So some good questions have come through. So Geeta had some really good questions just now about cost and about any frozen fruits. We'll let Karen answer that during Q&A. My guess is, based on making ice cream, any fruits would work. I'm curious about the cost too, because I don't know anything about this creamy. I've heard people use it. So let's definitely talk about this in the Q&A. So if any questions come through, I can voice them so Karen will hear them. So Karen is our last cook in the kitchen. After her segment, we'll do Q&A. And today for Q&A, we have Karen, Cody, Carolyn, and myself. Looks like a nifty machine. Geeta, you mentioned that mango ice cream is special for you. For me too. I love mango ice cream. This show is sure making me hungry for ice cream. Ice cream, it's a pretty hot day here. You see how healthy and easy it can be to enjoy good ice cream? Yeah, Janet, that's exactly what I'm wondering too. Geeta, you and I share, I believe, an Indian background, so maybe more so for us even, because a lot of mango grows in India. Janet, that's exactly one thing I was going to ask about, is do I need to get another appliance? That looks like a really cool machine. I wonder how much space it takes up. If I were to guess, something like that would be $150 to $250. Okay, looks like Karen's done.
Okay, I'm gonna check it because I didn't let it thaw out very much at all before I put it on, so it might need a little bit of a respin. But nope, it's perfect. So I don't know if you can see, it's nice and creamy. And so you have something with a lot of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, just a really healthy dessert, and tasty too. I like the little scoops because it fits in this little container. Yeah, one more. Yeah, maybe one more. Alrighty. So how easy is that? Easy and delicious. So that is my sorbet. And I'll hand it back to Dilip for Q&A.
Wonderful. Let's bring Cody back. And Carolyn, I think Carolyn is finishing up a snack, but I'll add her. Okay, what a nice show. I feel bad that I didn't actually cook, but hopefully my ice cream recipe will resonate with some, and certainly what Karen, you and Cody have done have been great. Let's start the discussion with, hopefully Carolyn will join, with that machine. So a great question came in. Let me show it. And Cody, would you take notes about who's asking questions, please?
You bet.
Thanks. So Janet's number one. So for those who have both, what appliance do you prefer, right? And I'm wondering exactly the same question, Karen. I'm like you. I have lots of appliances. I really don't want to buy more. There's Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn.
Hello.
Question for both you and Karen is why buy the Ninja when we have a high-speed blender, a Blendtec or a Vitamix? So Karen, why don't you go first? It looks like you need both. So why?
Me?
Karen.
I didn't for the long time. Because actually you can do anything in the Vitamix, but it's a fun toy. And like the things the one that Carolyn made, it would be another step. Like if you're just putting frozen fruit in the blender, that's one thing. But if you're using other things that are not frozen, then you have to, freeze them, and then you have to put them in the food processor or put them in the Vitamix or whatever. So I mean, you can do it, but it's kind of fun to have. And then, like I have a lot of extra pints, and just keep them in the freezer, so you don't have to just make a mess to clean up right whenever you want ice cream. You just
But
take,
what would happen if you didn't use the Ninja? You put everything mostly frozen, some not frozen in the Vitamix. I guess it would become a smoothie.
well, it depends on what it is. If it's frozen stuff, it would be a sorbet or a ice cream, especially if you use frozen bananas. But if you if it was like a smoothie and you wanted ice cream, then you just freeze it, and then it could get really hard, and then you put it in the food processor and process it that way, or put it in the blender and use a tamper or whatever. So then it's just another thing to clean up, but that's okay. But these you can just throw in the dishwasher.
Carolyn, you want to add to that? So should I get a Ninja Creamy?
I love my Ninja Creamy, and the biggest difference to me is that when you try to make ice cream in a food processor or even a blender, it's always going to come out like soft serve. And in the Ninja Creamy, it can come out actually like ice cream. So it'll come out firmer. So like you saw in mine, it's firmer. It holds firm little, like if you use an ice cream scoop, it's going to come out in little balls you can put on top of a cone, and it stays more like ice cream. I've made it, for years in my Vitamix blender or in the food processor, and it always comes out like soft serve, always, because there's just not much you can do to get it to be that firm.
And not just that, but the Vitamix goes like at 250 miles an hour or something like that, and so it's heating. If you can't make it for very long because then it'll melt.
Exactly. Where the Ninja Creamy, specifically designed with those blades that come down and spin, it's doing it at a specific rate for different things. So there's a button for gelato, there's a button for sorbet, there's a button for ice cream, there's a button for light ice cream. It's just,
what is light ice cream?
Lower in fat. Like, let's say you're using coconut milk, you would use light coconut milk. And so it's going to spin at a different speed. It's going to go a different amount of time based on what you just asked it to do.
So question, why do you need both? So Karen, you use both. Why can't you just if you buy this Ninja Creamy, why would you use the Vitamix to make ice cream? Why wouldn't you just use the Ninja Creamy?
Well, you can. People do put like just a can of peaches or something in there. And
I know.
freeze it and then spin it. But
Can you just stuff the container with frozen mango or frozen strawberry and a little bit of milk? Flat milk?
Yeah,
You could.
But I just like to have it all blended up, the dates and everything blended all together.
Right.
But you don't have to.
Right. You can just pour a whole can of, I found some organic pineapple, and it's just a can of organic pineapple. You could just dump the whole can in to the little Ninja freezer container, put it in the freezer until it's solid, make sure it's nice and flat on top, and then spin it for sorbet, and it'll blend it for you. So the reason I used the blender first was to really make sure it's really blended well. I wanted the cashew pieces blended in really, really well. But you could. Oh, also the other reason for that one is it made more than one container of it. So it makes like a container and a half. So, it's better to fill 2 containers with it than have, I don't know. It would be hard to figure out how to make just one container stuffing the sweet potato in.
It seems like this is a great market opportunity for Vitamix, so they always come up with really good products. I wonder if they're, come out with a small container that's specifically for ice cream. This is really cool. You've opened my eyes to maybe a new appliance. Where will I put it if I get it?
It's not that wide. You can see Karen's right there. They're tall and they're deep. They're not wide.
Yeah,
How wide? Like 8 inches, 10 inches?
Maybe 7 or 8 inches. It's not that wide.
It's about my palms.
Yeah, it's not.
But
Yeah.
the original one. But the deluxe is a little bigger, a little heavier.
Or is it? Okay. I have the original.
Well, there's lots of really good questions. So Geeta is in the running now. And by the way, thank you, Carolyn, because of you, Geeta won the system you use, that suction system. The Mason Genie.
Oh, my Mason Genie. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your experience with that, Geeta. Cody and I are experimenting with Zwilling system. I love it. I love the Zwilling system.
What's the filling system?
You didn't buy it because it had plastic components. You don't have to get the plastic components. It has glass and plastic both. I love my Zwilling system, and we can talk about it if people are interested. But Geeta asked about avocado because you do see avocado in ice cream. So would anybody like to take that one? I know that you can put avocado in pudding and ice cream. I've never done it. Any of the three of you have you done it?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Carolyn. Tell us how your experience with avocado, pluses and minuses.
Chocolate ice cream, it's really good. So it wouldn't really work very well for vanilla unless you want green vanilla ice cream. So could be good for St. Patrick's Day, I guess. But yeah, but the cocoa powder is going to cover up the green color. So, and it does make things nice and creamy. Sure.
Now, Hyacinth, welcome, Hyacinth. Glad to see you, Hyacinth Henry. If you don't have an ice cream maker, how can you make your ice cream? So you must have come in late. So if you saw my segment, I used a blender. The trick is you want to use a high-speed blender like a Blendtec or Vitamix. If you don't have a high-speed blender, then don't put totally frozen fruit. You want to half defrost it, otherwise you're going to damage the blender. But that raises another interesting question. Would any of you like to address? Because I don't know. Is what about the old-fashioned ice cream makers? KitchenAid sells one, for example, where you put stuff in and then it churns it and you freeze it. How does that kind of ice cream differ from what I did in the Vitamix, what you guys did in the Cody also did in the Vitamix, and what the two of you did in the Ninja Creamy?
Mm-hmm. I used to have one of those ice cream makers where it spun and spun and spun, and you can absolutely make plant-based ice cream in those. I gave mine away when I got my Ninja Creamy because I didn't need two different systems for making ice cream. I don't even eat ice cream all that much, but when I want it, it's a lot easier to do in the Ninja Creamy. But sure, an old-fashioned ice cream maker that just spins, especially if electric one, you don't have to sit there and crank it. That would be super helpful.
With rock salt?
Yes, you use rock salt around the outside. There are newer models. I want to say Cuisinart has one where it has a freezer thing that goes in your freezer.
Right.
Put it in, and there's a blade, like a paddle that spins around in it, and you just pour your ingredients into that. You would have to already blend it up in something else, but pour it in, and then it scrapes the sides, and it keeps on scraping until everything's frozen, and it's usually going to come out more like soft serve. Depends, how long you leave it in there, letting it go and go. The other way I've made ice cream in the past before that is take an ice cube tray and pour your already blended up ingredients into an ice cube tray, freeze it until they're really nice and solid. And then before you want to make ice cream, take it out and let it sit for maybe 5 minutes or so to thaw a little bit. Throw the cubes into your food processor and pulse and pulse and pulse and add maybe a little non-dairy milk to break it up a little bit. And you can get a nice soft serve that way too without.
So would you guys say that you get the same experience with your Ninja Creamy that you do in the old-fashioned churn ice cream maker?
It's better.
Oh, it's better than, okay. Wow, you're selling me on this device.
It's awesome. I love it. So, and when Costco has good sales, when Costco has a good sale, grab one.
Karen, there was a question that came up, was how much does it cost? Remember roughly, is it 150, 200, 250 kind of thing? Or
I think the new ones are in the 200s, but this was $99.
Oh, wow.
That's right. I mean, that was a sale.
Cody, I have a question for you. Because you have kids like I do. I love making ice cream at home, especially mango and strawberry, and obviously you do too. Now, I don't know if you have it in Omaha. We have a place downtown which is it's a wonderful ice cream store, and about a third of the flavors are vegan. And I love going there, but my family actually likes my homemade ice cream better than the store ice cream. Mm-hmm. I like the store ice cream better than mine, but I mean the ice cream parlor place. Do you find the same experience from your family? That they prefer yours to, like, if you go out? I know you said you don't want to buy a lot of like So Delicious or something because it's so high in sugar, but I'm sure, like me, you probably do buy that kind of thing once in a while. I'm sure you've had it, and we buy it occasionally. But of course, it has sugar, and the way I make and the way you make ice cream, the way all of us, we don't add sugar. So what does your family think? Is this something that they say they actually prefer over a commercial ice cream?
No, I mean, it's just a different type of ice cream. They don't really compare it, I guess, because like you said, the store-bought and stuff has so much sugar in it, and then they put other stuff in there as well. So it's more almost like a candy almost because it's so sweet. And it's just a little goes a long way with that. So we don't do that very often at all. But whereas this is kind of more guilt-free, the only thing in there really that it's just that maple syrup, but you don't have to even put that in there if all of your fruit's sweet enough and everything too. So I don't know. We can have this anytime. That we have to, that those little containers are kind of pricey too. So, and then we do have a ice cream shop downtown. I think that I've heard they have a couple vegan flavors. I just haven't ventured down there just for ice cream. I'd have to have another reason to go all the way down there. But one of these days we'll take the kids down and just check it out and see what they have for options for us down there. So it'd be fun.
I wanted to mention a little bit about sweetness. So I usually, I've never added maple syrup. That's something we like but you're right. If it's a sour mango, you would want the maple syrup. But you know what I do if I want a little extra sweetness is I put a date, but I don't put a date the way Karen, you did. I put the dates at the very end and I pulse it so there's still chunks of dates. And then in the mouthfeel, you eat ice cream, and if you do it right, every spoonful will have a little chunk of date instead of a homogeneous sweetness. And I like that. So once in a while I do that. Some years ago when my daughter was quite young, it was maybe about 15 years ago. No, longer than that, about 20 years. About 15, 16 years ago. At Duke University, they have an art museum. And they have a cafe as part of the art museum. And one summer they invited 3 chefs to cook one day, have a special meal. And they invited me, and I don't own a restaurant or anything. Everybody else had fancy restaurants. And not so much bragging about myself, but bragging about the kind of food we make. Mine was the most successful. They sold out. And the people said that no dish came back with food left on it. So that was really exciting. And one of the dishes at that meal that I made was ice cream. I made a strawberry ice cream with cacao nibs and little pieces of date, and it was a delicious dessert. The one thing I'll also say about this kind of ice cream, I guess probably not with the Ninja, but the blender ice cream, is it melts quickly. So you want to eat it right away. You don't want to save it. And if you save it, then it loses its texture when you defrost it. Lots of questions coming up. What is the basic ice cream machine? I think that's going to be up to you, but I think we're hearing from Karen and Carolyn that it's probably the Ninja. I think you missed, Kathy, we missed a question. Kathy has a great question, and it has to do with vegetables. So she said, we're talking about health. So I'm waiting for the recipe makers to start adding veggies to ice cream. Question. If you were to add veggies other than sweet potatoes, what wild combinations would you try and what spices? So who wants to take that? Karen, why don't you take a go at this one?
I have made ice cream with zucchini, and I've frozen it just like you have frozen fruit. So I've cut. If you don't peel it, it's going to be green. So if you want chocolate, put cacao powder in it. But and that kind of masked it. But if you want any other flavor, if you don't peel it, it's going to be green. But,
Carrots.
Mm-hmm.
And carrots are very sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Cake ice cream. I've made carrot cake ice cream.
Yum.
Huh.
That sounds really good.
I learned so much from you guys.
Probably not onions, Dilip.
I'll bet you onion ice cream would be good. I was in the West Coast recently. I brought back Walla Walla onions. They weren't as sweet as I remember them to be, but I bet a Maui onion from Hawaii. If
you go first and tell us how that is.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let us know.
You've taken on my mantle. I used to go every few years. Now you've already gone twice in quick succession. So maybe you should bring some Maui onions back and experiment. In fact, next time you go to Hawaii, I want to ask you to bring back a couple onions if you don't mind, because I love Maui onions. Somebody had a comment about the Kathy was mentioning Haagen-Dazs and something about Haagen-Dazs. I recently saw a social media listing of the best and worst ice creams relative to health healthy. Talenti ranks up there, even though they're not ice cream. So as being healthy, I've heard of Talenti. I don't know what Talenti is, though.
Yeah.
Sorbet usually, isn't it? Or a gelato? Maybe it's a gelato.
I've seen it like blackberry, and it's like in a container like your the Ninja one. Hyacinth, I make sweet potato ice cream not for me to eat because it was made with cream. I add cinnamon, nutmeg, and people who tasted it say it was tasting like pumpkin pie with an ice cream maker. Sounds good. That leads me to a reminder: is whenever possible, add some cinnamon. And if you don't want the flavor of cinnamon, add just a little bit because it'll mitigate the glycemic index increase in your blood system. So cinnamon is a great thing to add. Any excuse to have cinnamon. If you have something like cinnamon goes great with sweet potatoes, so that would be good. But if you have something that you feel the flavor combination isn't good, then just add a little bit just to get the nutritional benefits if you don't want the flavor. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Geeta says they have ice cream too. Somebody made a comment that, right, here we go, Kathy did, that if you use vegetables, you want to stay in color groups, otherwise you might get brown goop. How about carrot and strawberry, or maybe lima bean and honeydew? I'm not sure about the lima bean and honeydew. That doesn't sound too good to me. What do you guys think?
You know, I could almost see like some type of white bean mixed in with something sweet to make it creamy. I don't know.
Beans are very creamy.
Yeah, I mean, I
beans
put
are
white beans in smoothies, so why not?
Why not? Yeah.
That's a great idea, Cody. I do add white beans to things like that as well. Maybe next time I make ice cream, I'll put just a few beans, not for flavor, but just for even little additional creaminess and a little nutritional punch, because legumes are so healthy.
It comes out like brown goop. Just add a fourth of a cup of cocoa powder, and it's chocolate. That's fine.
There you go. That's a good help.
There's a really good brownie recipe, like a blondie recipe with the canned lima beans.
Well, I remember a couple. Sorry.
Oh no! If you want, you can put chocolate chips on top.
And a number of times I've made Cody's recipe for black bean brownies. Remember that way back when? That was the first year. It seems like a very unlikely brown. In fact, one year my daughter used to always make treats for the fire department and the police department for Labor Day. We'd go and deliver it and thank them for their service and for protecting us. And it was black bean brownies. We did it at least once, maybe twice.
You tell them that it was black bean brownies?
We told them they're vegan brownies.
Okay.
I'm not sure we told them. We always offer ingredients in case people are, have any sensitivities.
Right. Just in case they're wondering why they feel gassy afterward. They don't eat a lot of beans. They're gonna, what is going on with those brownies?
You mentioned something, Carolyn, in your recording about that you don't eat raw wheat. I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yeah, you're not supposed to eat raw flour, wheat flour. Oat flour is fine. It's just oats. That should be fine. But raw wheat flour is not a good idea because it can contain bacteria that can make you very sick. So that's
oats
why
can't?
Oats are not the same thing. So oats are a grain that is, when it's ground up, it doesn't contain that bacteria. But there is something about wheat flour, and Karen may know more about that, but there's a bacteria that can grow on wheat and in wheat flour. That's why you always need to consume wheat flour cooked, which is why they always tell people don't eat raw cookie dough. And I always assumed it was because of the eggs, which that's a reason too. In like regular cookie dough that people put eggs in, you don't want to eat raw eggs. But you also, even in vegan cookie dough, you don't really want to eat raw flour. It can make you sick if you happen to have a batch that has that bacteria in it.
But there's a brand, I'm sure you know it. It's called Each or something, and it's an all vegan company from San Diego, and they make chocolate chip cookie dough, and they say you can eat the dough, and I think they have flour in it.
I don't think they have wheat flour in it.
Okay.
So I think it's almond flour or something like that. But hang on, I'm looking it up. Let's see.
And Infinite Love Gratitude's pointing out oats have been pre-steamed, so they're not raw. Okay.
Right.
Infinite Love Gratitude, turn that into a question. You can be in the running for our prize. And by the way, our prizes today, we have a wonderful, I just found it a couple days ago, this really nifty looking, I was looking, what kind of ice cream scoop can we give away And I was thinking for the kind of ice cream that Cody and I make, you don't really need a scoop because it's so soft. But I guess we do need it for the Ninja Creamy kind of ice cream. So I found one where it releases. But I also found there's all these heated ice cream scoops, which sounds pretty cool. So you cut right through really hard ice cream, and then it melts around the blade and releases. But that's one of our prizes. We have a very nice ice cream scoop, and then we have a magazine subscription to Veg News. Yeah, Janet, I do too. I learned so much from my fellow instructors. Infinite love, gratitude. All they have to do is heat treat the wheat flour to make cookie dough safety raw. Okay, sounds good.
Right. Yeah. If you heat, so you can actually take the flour and put it in the oven for a while before making cookie dough. Then you could actually eat the raw dough. But from what I'm reading on, this is on the CDC website, that most flour is raw. And it doesn't look like a raw food, but it is. And it's just the raw, grains of wheat that have been ground up. And it says most of the time that means it hasn't been treated to kill germs that cause food poisoning, like E. coli or salmonella. And the harmful germs can contaminate grain while it's still in the field or in the flour stage when it's being milled into flour. And so that's why you've got to heat it up to kill any potential bacteria. So you can go ahead and bake your flour for a while to kill off, I forget how much it is, like 350 for 15 minutes or something, and then add it to your cookie dough, and then you could eat the cookie
like
dough.
in making a roux.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly right.
Kathy has a good question. So, for example, wheat germ, I guess, is processed or cooked, because I like wheat germ, and wheat germ is a good thing to add. So Kathy wants to know some native wheat ideas to add in for nutrition. So like maybe dandelion greens or
Purslane.
purslane. Yeah. I've only had purslane a few times. It's a very interesting food. It has a nice flavor. Let's see. I had this question came up before Q&A, and I answered it, but I'd love to see what you have to say, Carolyn, because you added a pinch of salt. Why would you add something salt to sweet? And my answer was just to make sure it's not, cloyingly sweet.
Yeah. Usually it's because it offsets the sweetness a little bit. So, salt to me is always an optional ingredient. But like I said in my video, this is Drina Burton's recipe. So I was just kind of following her recipe for the sweet potato ice cream. But to me, salt is, it's a necessary mineral. We do need some in our diets. We do need that. Just a little. We don't need a huge amount. But iodized salt is super important for our thyroids. If you're going to eat salt, make sure it's iodized salt. Let's put it that way. To me, it just offsets the sweetness a little bit. So, it's just a nice combination.
I have a slightly different view. I agree with you. If you're adding salt, make sure you have a source of iodized salt. But we do use salt, and I have some non-iodized salt because there's other culinary reasons. Some of the, I really like, I have a truffle salt, and I love it.
Sure. Sure. Culinary, Kala namak, if you're making food, sure.
Right.
Are you making a good tofu scramble? Sure.
Right.
A piece of that on the top especially is really good. And
I don't know if anybody else has found this, but I shop at my co-op mostly, and also at Whole Foods Market, and I found sometimes it's hard to find like Morton's iodized sea salt. We have to go to like regular grocery stores. I'm not sure why. I think a lot of the stores that I shop at focus on more specialized foods, perhaps, and they're getting the non-iodized specialized salts. But sometimes if we're out of salt, we have to look for it because it's hard to find. It's surprising. Have you had that experience, Cody? If you go to Whole Foods, for example, that you don't, or in your case, Natural Grocers, do you find that it's easy to get the iodized salt?
No, I usually don't have an issue getting iodized salt. And when I do, I usually get like a big container of it, and it lasts me forever. So.
Yeah, you have another big grocery store near you. I forgot which one it's called. Hy-Vee's or something like that.
Yeah, right? It's kind of a bigger Midwestern store.
Yeah. Oh, and Kathy has an interesting point. I know vegans don't eat eggs. Okay. Wow. I'm wondering why you say, Kathy, the world changes and refrigeration goes away. Food becomes scarce. So for those who do eat eggs, which of course we're not promoting in the least, we don't want you to eat eggs, but Kathy made a point that eggs can last a month without refrigeration. Walmart sells mortar. Okay, yeah, right. But in terms of stores like Whole Foods and co-ops, I'm finding it a little bit difficult to find. I have no doubt that Walmart sells that, and larger department stores and other grocery stores.
Your Whole Foods could get it in if you ask them to, because I bought it at Whole Foods. After I had a problem with my thyroid, where they told me I needed to see an endocrinologist and go on thyroid medicine, and I said, hang on, give me a few months and let me work on this with my diet. And my doctor said, you cannot fix this with your diet. And I said, watch me. And so I thought about my diet, and I realized I had not, because I hadn't eaten fish in 17 years. And I looked at my salt, and it was not iodized. And then I went over to Whole Foods to I've sometimes ate at the Whole Foods hot bar. And I said, what kind of salt do you guys use in the kitchen? It was the same uniodized salt I was using at my house. And I realized I haven't had any iodine in years. And so I bought seaweed snacks and ate lots of seaweed snacks. And I switched to iodized salt, even though I don't use a lot of salt. When I use a pinch of salt, it's iodized. And I started taking a Brazil nut once a week and having more sources of selenium and things like that, and a little magnesium in my diet. And my thyroid function came down to perfectly normal. And my doctor, I think, was mad at me because I fixed it with my diet, and she was a little shocked. So,
by the way, Brenda Davis, and I also wanted to mention, if you look at her, as always, Brenda does an amazing job with the appendix that she writes for our show. And she misinterpreted. She thought this was a kid's show. So the tone of her appendix is for kids, but it's a good thing, because please do look at what Brenda had to write. She has pictures and talks about why certain fruits are better at making ice cream than others, which is really neat. Mm-hmm. Kathy, I haven't noticed that, because I so rarely buy salt. Okay. So you're saying, Kathy, we're going to have less and less electricity available because of data centers. Okay, I wasn't aware of this. And so you're saying that refrigeration is going to be less common around the world. I didn't know that. So I know a lot of things are changing the world. I didn't know about that. So I had a question about pectin, Karen. You talked about pectin and how pectin thickens things. I was looking last week at the co-op they had on sale. I like, there's one brand of jam I like. It's called Crofters. It's organic, and they have a fruit only, which has like strawberries, and it has apple. It's like 4 ingredients, and the last thing is pectin. So pectin is used for jellies and jams to thicken it. But can you talk a little bit about pectin in your ice cream, and what your source of pectin is?
It was in the mango. That's why when you blend the mango, it makes everything nice and creamy. Mango blends up really creamy. It's a fiber. Mm-hmm. But yeah, tomatoes have it.
Tomatoes have pectin?
Yeah, the more you blend tomatoes, the thicker you'll get avocado.
Persimmon.
Really?
Persimmons are an excellent.
Tomatoes get thicker as you blend them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You can make a nice raw tomato sauce in the blender.
And persimmon. I make persimmon pudding and persimmon ice cream all the time. And you don't need to add pectin. It just thickens as you blend it. It's wonderful. Cool. Yeah. Unfortunately, they're not in season until the end of October, mid-November.
It'll be here before you know it.
Can't wait. Love persimmon.
Yeah. Kathy Sabo mentioned, I found that filtered water eliminates minerals. So if you're drinking filtered water, you almost have to supplement. Okay, that's interesting.
It depends on what your filter is. Like
Depends on what?
RO water does. It depends on what your filter is.
Yeah. Let's see. Did you, since it's right next to you, Karen, can you talk about your Ninja Creamer? Is that something that you typically use in combination with the Vitamix, or you typically use all by itself?
Usually I'll just blend up a mixture and put it in the pints and freeze it. So I'll use the Vitamix or the BlendTec and mix that whatever.
You have both?
Yeah, I have like 3 or 4 Vitamixes and a couple of these. Well, because I do events. and more than just one person working on it at a time or something. But yeah, I've done a dinner where I used this, so I froze 7 pints of mixture that mixed up in the Vitamix, and then took it to the event and just used this to spin it.
And the Ninja is heavy duty because the Vitamix is industrial strength. That's why you can put frozen things in. This won't break.
This?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it will break. I don't think it will get things like cashews as creamy as the Vitamix will. But no, I mean, if it's just fruit, it'll blend it up. Frozen fruit. Or not frozen fruit, just fruit.
Yeah.
And then you freeze it.
Let me put up again. That's the QR code to our recipes, so you can see all of our recipes. Here's another question that's coming in. I just heard that, this is from Kathy. I just heard that tomato puree is called passata. Heard that word and had to look it up. Wonder if Italians use that blending technique that Karen was talking about. You know, relatively recently, Carolyn went to Italy for a cooking class with Mayoko.
Yep, it was wonderful. I wish I could go back today. I would go back. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. So,
what's the right thing to do today? To buy Mayoko's products or not?
no. So, if it says Miyoko's Creamery on it, Miyoko has nothing to do with that anymore, and she would probably tell you not to buy it too, because the quality has gone down quite a bit since she owned the company. So, yeah, and she tried to buy it back after it failed last time, and she got pushed out of the bidding war by somebody. I can't remember. He's the owner of Melt or something. I can't remember.
That's right.
Yeah, and he was actually. Sorry, I'm going to just say this because I know for sure. I've seen it myself. He was very ugly to her. I've seen the texts that he sent her. He was really awful. And so I wouldn't buy Miyoko's products right now. I hate to say that, but she has started her own new brand called The Good Life with Miyoko Schinner. And she's got lots of YouTube programs out. So if you want to know how to make some of her products, go to her YouTube channel, because she tells you how to make so many things. Plus she has her cookbook out, Miyoko's Creamery. She has a new one out. She has so many good cookbooks where she tells you how to make everything. So there's really no reason to buy her products. And I personally am not buying them anymore.
I was excited towards the end before all this happened. She was on the verge of making a cottage cheese. In fact, I think it was slated to hit the markets. And when I was a kid, I loved cottage cheese. My mom would cut little pieces of pineapple, mix it in with the cottage cheese or peaches. That was something commonly made.
Cottage cheese or ricotta cheese?
Cottage.
Okay. Yeah, I think she has a recipe on YouTube. If I'm not mistaken, I could look that up. I know she's been working on that.
It's maybe it's the era. I mean, we're not so far apart in age, Carolyn. So I don't know if you grew up with it too. It was a common food.
Cheese with canned pears on top.
Yes, canned.
Yeah,
pineapple.
It makes me feel like I'm in the hospital or in a school cafeteria. But
it brings back memories. I'd love to have some vegan cottage cheese.
Well, actually, I can text Miyoko and ask her. See if she's.
Oh, your friends. Okay, yeah. Cody, you didn't grow up with cottage cheese, I assume.
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, my mom would put sugar in it.
Okay.
White sugar.
Of course. I'm not even sure what cottage cheese is, curds or something. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, it is curds. It's basically curds and whey. So when you remember that Little Miss Muffet sat eating her curds and whey, she was basically eating cottage cheese.
I can still hear my little.
Yeah.
I still hear my little 2- and 3-year-old little daughter singing that. She had a very
Right.
cute way of saying it.
That's what it is. It's curds. It's the little hard part, and the liquidy stuff around it was the whey. Curds and whey is basically cottage cheese. So I just texted her. We'll see if I just asked if she has a cottage cheese recipe because I don't really remember. She's probably going to say, duh, come on.
So
I can't remember right now.
One of my
that's cool.
used to make it in like wrap it up in a corn tortilla with a little bit of salt and warm it up. It was so good.
That sounds really nice.
I've actually seen I've seen other recipe creators have vegan cottage cheese. I want to say it doesn't taste like chicken.com. I think she may have a cottage cheese recipe. Let me look. Vegan cottage cheese. Let's see.
While you're checking, let me just share what our upcoming shows are. So next month, we're doing a show on pies, so many pies. And the month after, we're doing a show on pumpkin, so much pumpkin. That will bring us to November, and we always, since the third year, I think, this is our 6th year, rebroadcast, because all of us are very busy in the holidays. I host the country's biggest vegan Thanksgiving. You should all come. Carolyn's been talking about coming one year. You really should come now that you have your daughter nearby, and Cody, you were talking about maybe bring the family. You should come some year. And Karen, I'd love to have you. So our Thanksgiving isn't what it used to be. Before the pandemic, we had regulars who came from Canada, 2 families from Canada, several from California, Florida. Ever since the pandemic, we're not at 600. We're at like 350 to 400, which is still a decent number. And we have less out-of-town people. We used to have lots of out-of-town people. But anyhow, because the holidays for everybody, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Eid, Diwali, Hanukkah, I'm probably missing some important ones. Christmas, of course. So for November and December, we do rebroadcasts, and we'll have 3 shows or 4 shows. 3 shows, I think. And one of us will be there just answering questions. So, and then we already have a topic for the first few months of 2027. I think the first topic is slow cooking. So slow cookers or things like that. That's a really nice thing to do in the winter. And I think we have a February and even a March show picked out. So we don't have graphics for those yet. Do any of you guys know what you want to make for the pie show? I know Karen already told us she's going to make a pie from scratch, right?
Oh,
Raw
I'm going
pie?
to make a raw pie, but with whatever fruit I can get at the
Okay.
time.
I was thinking shepherd's pie just because it's pie.
I don't know. I think I told you my idea, Dilip. I don't know if I'll do it or not, but I grew up eating green tomato pie, and it tasted like the tomatoes tasted like a Granny Apple Smith apple, or Granny Smith apple, and so the pie itself tasted like an apple pie, and it was really good. You put cinnamon and sugars in it, and so I just have to make sure I find Mom's recipe and make sure it's all vegan ingredients. But I was kind of thinking about that. I'm not sure yet, so it's something different.
I'd never heard about it, so I hope you do, and then maybe I'll make it after I see how you do
Yeah.
it.
But we'll see if I can get the kids to eat it. I know I liked it when I was a little bit older, but when I was little, like, oh, green tomatoes in a pie. But then when you try it, you're like, oh, this does taste really good, So it's just different. It's unique. So
I'm thinking of making a cherry or a blueberry pie, something like that. But I might change my mind and make a savory pie. Maybe since you've already mentioned shepherd's pie, maybe some sort of savory pie, like maybe a tofu stew put inside a pie. Now here's my weakness. So I'm glad Karen's going to show the pie from scratch. Is I've never made. My daughter has, but I've never made the pie shell. I always buy a pie shell. Actually, I have made pie shells from scratch, but I'm too lazy. Way back in high school, I took a home ec class and I learned how to do it. I've done it a few times, but I buy my own pie shells. So when you see me on camera, I'm going to say, this is a pie shell that I bought. But Karen will show us how it's made.
Oh,
which will be
I'm
good.
just going to make a raw pie, so it's going to be totally different than, I mean, it will be a crust, but it's not going to be the kind that you cut and make the lattice and bake it.
Well, for about a year and a half, my wife was really interested in raw foods, and she'd enjoy my dinners, but she'd have a raw lunch, and she started learning to make raw pomegranate pies, and she would blend pomegranate. She doesn't eat tofu; it bothers her stomach. She's sensitive to. She can eat tempeh, but she would blend pomegranate in the Vitamix with I can't remember what, and then she'd use something to make the shell. But that was her thing. She did it and it was really good. And then we'd freeze it.
that's cool. Maybe she should be your
Yeah.
special guest, and she can make that too.
Maybe that's not a bad
Mhm.
idea.
That'd be fun.
That would.
I think
Yeah,
I
that
made
might.
shepherd's. Didn't I make a shepherd's pie once a few years ago? Now that I think about it, I
I
think
think you might have.
I think I did. I'm gonna have to change my mind and find something else.
Gita, that's a great idea. Let's take a note of that. We should definitely do a fermented foods
Oh, yes.
show.
Yeah,
I think that's on
I
our
was
list.
thinking
Great
about
idea.
that. I was because I've been really into making the fermented pickles with no vinegar.
That sounds great.
Oh, nice.
Kathy is saying, "Hey, Cody, make your green tomato pie."
Oh.
Really good.
cream pie. You know, I have memories from it. When I was a kid, my mom used to buy these frozen. It was like I had a red and white label. It was a common brand all over America, I think, and it would be like cream pie, banana pie. I'm sure they're very unhealthy, but we used to get them growing up.
I think Ava made a banana cream, or
Yes.
she made a vanilla pudding pie when she was younger. And I can't remember if she
On the
did it
show.
on one of our shows or not.
She
but-
did.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We should. I love the idea of cream pie, Kathy. That sounds really good. Maybe I'm going to learn to blend some silken tofu with some vanilla and some maybe a little pectin. That
You
would be
can
worth playing with.
also, yeah, you could do it with the Japanese sweet potato and some dates, some vanilla, and agar.
Do you remember one year, Karen, I shipped you a box of Japanese sweet potatoes?
Japanese sweet potato.
Because you couldn't get organic, and I had plenty, so I sent you
Oh.
some.
Yeah, we can't. We don't. Well, yeah, now I do. But yeah, that's my favorite kind of potato.
It's my favorite too. Sweet potatoes are great. Let's do the drawing. Cody, how many do we have on the list?
I have 4. I have Janet, Geetha, Hyacinth, and Kathy. I don't know if I missed anybody. I thought I was getting them all.
Last chance to ask a question. So Karen, now that you're back with us in the show, I won't take notes. I'll let you handle noting down who and what can people. We're having problems with oh, by the way, we're having big problems with our website. Let me tell you, and you guys don't know what happened, but somebody hacked into our website. And so, so the person who was doing the website can't do that website anymore. So I found somebody who's excellent at websites. He's going to take it over, but he needs to go back to get back to where the domain is registered, and she doesn't have it. And Mark, who started, doesn't have it, and I don't have it. So we're kind of stuck. The only way to recover it is to get a court order, and we don't know who we'd ask for the court order. So we're not sure what we're going to do. We were toying with the idea of creating a new site, somanycooks.org, but I don't want to give up somanycooks.com. So we're not sure what's going on. But once we figure it out, we'll have a newer and better and a better search function and all that. So this the gentleman who's going to do the website is really, really good. So since we don't have, we came up with this interesting email address. Do you remember what it was, Karen, that we can share? So people can get
the older one, but I don't get it. I mean, it's not Karen at So Many Cooks, right? Something else.
Yeah, that's not been working.
Looks like Kathy wants off the list, and she's won so many times. Okay, Kathy, I'll cross you off.
Okay. So how should we, Karen? What email? I made up an email address. I don't remember it. Do you remember what it was?
I mean, I can get it at, I think, Karen O. Rawchef at me.com.
Karen
Oh,
Raw.
Karen O. Rawchef
at
me.com.
Okay, so I just posted this. So if you win, please send Karen a note at KarenORawchef@me.com. Okay, so let's do the drawing. So how many? We have three people. Okay.
Yep.
So, and the first prize is going to be the scoop, the ice cream scoop. So I'm going to draw a random number from 1 through 3 through random.org. And the winner is number 1. Who's number 1?
That would be Janet.
Janet, congratulations. You got the scoop. Can you confirm you're here and that you're sending Karen a message? Karen, you know what scoop we're talking about, right? Yeah. Okay.
No, I mean, I don't.
Okay, I'll make sure you know
Send it
which
to
one
me.
it is. I will. Okay, so so who was the winner?
Janet.
Doe.
Janet Doe, are you here? Karen has your email address, right, Karen?
If it hasn't changed, I have it all. Yeah.
Okay. So Karen, Janet, confirm that you're here. You get the scoop. So hopefully Janet is here. Let's say Janet wins the scoop. Okay. Okay. And then let's go ahead and draw. We're still waiting for a comment from Janet that you're here. So the next one is subscription to Veg News Magazine, lovely magazine. Lots of news about veganism, not necessarily about healthy veganism. Some of it is, but it's about veganism in general, lifestyle. So the winner of the magazine subscription is number 3. So who's 3?
That's Hyacinth.
Congratulations, Hyacinth. So Hyacinth wins the magazine subscription.
I have hers too, if nothing's changed.
Okay. Yeah, so confirm, please, Hyacinth, that you're here, and we'll get you guys the prizes. So Hyacinth. Okay. All right. Well, let's start to wrap up then. Karen, it's so wonderful to have you back. Because PCRM does a great job getting us, finding us as Food for Life instructors. We could spend half an hour talking about how amazing Cody is. We could spend half an hour talking about how amazing Carolyn is. We can spend half an hour talking about how amazing you are. We're all excellent at what we do, and I look to you as an ingredient expert. You know so much about ingredients. You have this walking knowledge of so much, more than anybody else I know. So we've really missed you, and I'm so glad you're back.
I am glad to be back now that I can walk.
So it's wonderful.
They're both
Yeah,
here.
they're both here. So great. So it's great. And especially next month with the pies, seeing what you come up with will be really cool. It's always good working with you, Cody and Carolyn. And
You too.
thank you. Do you guys know what you're going to make for the next show? Not the pie, but what was the show after that? The
Slow cooker.
pumpkin.
Is that what you said?
Pumpkin.
Oh, pumpkin.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know.
Just before the show, my wife gave me a great idea. She learned that you can, because she likes the idea of tofu, but she can't eat soy-based tofu. So she knows that there's a way to make tofu from pumpkin seeds. So she said, maybe you should make a pumpkin seed tofu. And I think that's a great idea. I'm going to learn if I can do that.
Maybe I'll
That'd
do
be
like
cool.
maybe I'll do like a pumpkin chili.
That sounds really good. I did that once. It was really good.
I don't know.
Carolyn always has ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking pumpkin mac and cheese. I don't know. Let's see.
Too.
I don't know. Play with it.
Karen, any ideas?
Oh, I got pie on the brain, but I want to do
I
something.
know, right?
I don't know.
Could do a pumpkin pie.
I know. 2 months in a row.
Yep, pie.
Can't have enough pie.
Right.
Yes, that's the pumpkin show and the pie show. Yeah, so the pies could be savory. And by the way, the pie idea came from you, from our show. I think it was last month. Somebody, I think it might have been Kathy Sabo, who said, why don't we do pies? So somebody did. So we love your suggestions. Keep your suggestions coming. Right now, it's hard to reach us because the website is down. But maybe the best thing is just make a comment on Facebook or YouTube, because the stream, while it's about to end, you can keep annotating and adding comments. So thanks for watching. Karen, Cody, or Carolyn, do you have any final comments?
Well, just enjoy your weekend. Thanks for joining us today.
Mhm. Have a great weekend.
Make some
Next month. Have a great month.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.
All right. Bye. Good to see you.
Bye.
So many cooks in the kitchen, so many recipes to share. So many cooks in the kitchen with meals for you to prepare. We've got fruits and grains, veggies and beans, more healthy food than you've ever seen. So many cooks plant-based meals to prepare. So many cooks in the kitchen with ideas we're happy to share.